Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to do a friendship video for Jun and The8. This is a reading I'm kind of excited for, as they're two of my favorite members of 17, and these are the decks that we're going to use. So let's just jump into the reading to figure out how they get along. The first card that I'm going to take out is going to describe I guess a connection as a whole. So a card to describe Jun and The8's relationship. We have Mercury, so ideas and communication. Now we're going to take out one card to represent each individual. Okay, two popped up. I'll take them. And three came out, but of course I just want one. And the one that flipped up is the King of Pentacles. Okay, so the card that represents their connection is Mercury, which tells me that they both have very good communication or ideas. Ideas was the first thing that came up to my mind. They're very good at talking to each other. Of course, they're both Chinese members, so I guess it makes sense that language-wise they're able to communicate maybe a bit better than with other members from the group. But the first thing that kind of stood out to me the most was actually the fast thinking that Mercury brings. Mercury is a ruler of Virgo and Gemini, which I wanted to point out because Jun is a Gemini sun. So this tells me that the type of connection that they have is one where they can talk to each other very freely, is one where they can express their ideas very well, and they're very good at expressing themselves too. This tells me that there's like a fast pace that comes with both of them, in the sense of they don't have to think too much to be able to not only communicate properly but also to think things through in their connection. I think the type of relationship that they have is one where they can have a very, I was thinking of creativity, so they're able to enhance the creativity that the other one has. They're able to bounce ideas from one to the other. And also with this Mercury, it's number 15, so if you add up 15 you have 6. So I was thinking of the 6th house and how that one's all about routine, work, and health. So I do feel that they're both very good at influencing each other in those areas of life. Now the cards that represent each one of them. For Jun, we have the Ace of Cups and the High Priestess. So funnily enough, there's like an intuitiveness that comes with Jun. The Cups is a sign of intuition, creativity, and emotions, and the High Priestess is a card that represents the moon, and the moon and the High Priestess are both cards that represent our intuition and our emotions. So it definitely feels like the cards that came out for Jun shows that they represent his intuition, so what just comes naturally to him and those gut feelings that he gets. And it also shows that there's this side of like the unknown, right? So I do feel that if we combine that with the Mercury, there is a sense that Jun feels like he's able to express his emotions pretty clearly. He's able to just feel them and understand them a bit better. There is a sense of divine guidance or divine protection with both of these cards, and I guess a higher spiritual knowledge of sorts, which comes from having a clear heart, or I guess clear emotions, as well as transparency. There's a sense of being able to see things for what they are, being able to just feel things. So I do feel that these two cards represent a sense of purity. Right now that I'm looking at the dove, a sense of just understanding and knowledge, which kind of shows that that's how Jun is being represented in this connection, as someone that's pure, honest, clear, and someone that follows their gut feeling. Now the card that represents the 8 is the King of Pentacles, which tells me that there is a sense of grounding. He is being represented as someone that not only are they grounded, but he's also very rooted and very honest with who he is and the person that he has become, or the person that he aims to be. This King of Pentacles tells me that he's pretty mature and he really knows how to work with his 3D physical world. And combining that with the cards that represent Jun, it feels like Jun is more of like the heart, while the 8 will be more of like the practical side, someone that knows how to make things and manifest them into a 3D, an individual that knows how to just be pretty practical about how things work. So there, I do feel a sense of being detached, but not necessarily in an airy type of way. It feels more of a grounded sense of being able to see things in a practical way rather than full-on emotions. There's a sense of slow and steady type of energy with this King of Pentacles, but definitely it's a cardinal sign with this King of Pentacles. So there is definitely a sense of being kind of like a leader, being able to take matters to his own hands, that type of energy. So I do feel that this card just represents the more practical and logical side of the 8, as well as his ability to just being grounded. Now we are going to jump onto the next thing, which is how do they see each other. So how does Jun see the 8? 2 cards popped up. We have Death reversed and the King of Pentacles reversed. Interesting. How does the 8 see you? We have the 7 of Swords. Okay. So the way that Jun sees the 8 is Death reverse. So there's a sense of like having Scorpio energy, which yeah, he does. And then we have the King of Pentacles reversed. So this tells me that there is a sense of Jun is able to see the side of the 8 that procrastinates, or is able to see the challenges that the 8 may have. And I feel one of those challenges with this King of Pentacles reverse is the ability to take care of himself. So there's a chance that Jun sees the 8 as an individual who is very selfless, someone that likes to give a lot to other people to the point of exhaustion. I don't know why that word was kind of hard to say. So this tells me that Jun is an individual. Chill. Let me calm down. I feel like I was repeating myself. That's why. So it definitely feels like Jun sees the part of the 8 that is always giving to other people, and sees the lack that the 8 has of giving to himself, because this King of Pentacles is actually the Queen of Pentacles in this deck, and it is the energy of someone, when it's reversed, the energy of someone that needs to focus on themselves and focus all the things that they give to other people onto themselves and try to take care of themselves a bit more. So I do feel that Jun sees that part of the 8, the one that is so selfless to the point that it becomes painful. On the other hand, we have Death reversed, and Death is a card about transformation. So I do feel that this is a lesson that the 8 just hasn't learned, and is one that Jun constantly sees the damage of. It feels someone that is so given to other people and hasn't learned their lesson of just giving to themselves a bit more, or hasn't learned the boundaries and limitations of that. That's kind of what I feel with these 2 cards. So that's how Jun sees the 8. On the other hand, the 8 sees Jun as a 7 of Swords. So I do feel that the first word that comes with the 7 of Swords, funnily enough, was betrayal. And at the same time, the other word that comes with the 7 of Swords is, having secrets or being deceptive, that kind of energy. So I do feel that, and here we have, we have a moon in Aquarius, which is, if I'm correct, that's the 8's moon. He has a moon in Aquarius, which I find that very interesting that this card popped up. In other words, I do feel that the 8 is very good at picking up the things that Jun doesn't say. Because I want to talk back, bring it back to the cards that represent Jun in this reading, which are pretty intuitive. A lot of subconscious things are being brought up. And this card right here feels like it's not necessarily that Jun wants to keep secrets. It's not necessarily that he's like betraying someone. It feels more like there's stuff that Jun says, but there's more to it. There's more depth there's more depth to the words that he says, and I feel that the 8 is very good at picking those things up, especially with this moon in Aquarius. Even though it may feel like it is someone that struggles with their emotions, it is still someone that is able to connect with the intuitive side of themselves, the subconscious side. So I do feel that it makes sense why Mercury is here. Is like the 8 is able to see how Jun says things, but there's still a lot of things that are being left unsaid, and the 8 is able to like kind of like pick up on those things, and that helps Jun communicate even better, because the stuff that he can't really understand for himself or can't properly explain to other people, the 8 kind of just knows what's going on. That's the kind of feeling I'm getting here. Now I'm going to take out one card to see how they like to spend their time together. The card that we have here is Pluto. So it feels like they like to talk about their transformations, or they like to just, I was thinking maybe pep talks, but at the same time, just it makes me think of people that have conversations to reflect upon and try to understand things better. It's like talking to each other to improve on who they are as individuals, to learn from each other. It feels like they really like to just go through this period of like analyzing their growth and trying to plan for even more growth to come through and just change. Pluto is not a sign, it's a planet about transformation, rebirths. So I do feel that both of them really like to talk about those things and try to become better. I wouldn't be surprised if the one that initiates those conversations is actually the 8, but at the same time I feel that Jun has a lot of things that he doesn't say, so it just kind of comes naturally for them to just figure those things out and make it clear. Again, communication with Mercury is the card that represents their connection, so it does feel like there's like it kind of goes hand in hand, right? They're able to communicate properly, and one of the things that they communicate is to help each other clear things up and be able to see the growth that they have as individuals and how that's helping them and all of that, and that helps them even, reflect and grow even more. Now the next card that I'm going to take out is to figure out what they like about each other. So what does Jun like about the 8? We have the 6 of Cups reversed. And what does the 8 like about Jun? We have the Emperor reversed. So with the 6 of Cups reversed, I was thinking of not being able to let go of something. So there's a sense of maybe the thing that Jun likes about the 8 is that the 8 is very resilient and doesn't like to let go of things so easily. So there's a sense of being very persistent, being able to just, those connections, those childhood friends, those childhood lessons, all those things that may come from the past. The 8 is very good at just keeping those lessons, keeping that knowledge, and not forgetting those, maybe even promises. Like maybe the 8 doesn't forget promises that he may have made when he was very young, and I think Jun really likes that, the ability that the 8 has of just not letting go of the past. Now, I don't know, there can be a lot of things that, there's a lot of bad things that could come from not letting go of the past, right? So I do feel that this is kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Like, because it could be that, right? Like, Jun really admires and really likes how the 8 doesn't just let go that easily, but at the same time, with this card being reversed, it feels like maybe, no, that makes sense, it could be both, right? That Jun really admires how the 8 is able to really hold on to the things that he cares about, but also has an easy time just letting go of the things that don't work for him. So I feel it could be those both things, especially with the King of Pentacles that's representing the 8. There is a sense of Jun really likes the 8's ability to just understand what's valuable to him and hold on to that, and then understand what's not good for him and what's hurting him and let go of that. Now the thing that the 8 really likes about Jun, and this is the thing that I heard of, the first thing I heard of with this card was potential. because it's reversed. When it's upright, it's a very good card. With it being reversed, it's kind of tough. So yeah, the first thing that I heard was potential. So The8 really likes the potential that Jun has as being this emperor. The emperor is a very stable energy. It's Aries energy. It is all of the kings put together. So all the kings in tarot put together. So this is a king that is mature. It is a king that knows when to take action. It is a king that knows how to work with their emotions and knows how to have a clear mind to be able to think about things properly and have a very cold mind, in the sense of like being able to make decisions appropriately. So with it being reversed, I do feel that there's a sense of maybe Jun is not 100% in the emperor energy, but maybe he has his moments where he's very stable and he just seems to know what to do and have things very clear and know exactly what path he wants to take. And I think The8 really admires that part of Jun, or sees that potential that Jun has, and seems like that's a thing that The8 likes. The ability, the skills and tools that Jun has to be this emperor. I just don't know if this could be like sometimes Jun gets in that energy, but he's not always there, and that's why this card is reversed. Or maybe at the moment Jun is not like 100% grounded, but he has, when he's in his energy, he's able to be that emperor. Now the other card that we're going to take out is what have they learned from each other. So what has Jun learned from The8? We have the Princess of Wands reversed. They're all reversed. Okay. And what has The8 learned from Jun? The Ace of Wands. Makes sense. So the thing that Jun has learned from The8 is this Princess of Wands, or the Knight of Wands, reversed though. So there is a sense of travel, not being afraid maybe of traveling, or not being afraid of trying new things potentially. Okay, the other thing, the thing that kind of came up with this card was like to not jump into the unknown without thinking about it. It feels like the thing that Jun has learned from The8 is to have the ability and the discernment of when to take action. Is to not be fully impulsive. Is being able to learn when is the right time to strike, or when is the right time to do something. And also I'm getting a sense of like not being afraid of the unknown, or not being afraid of different cultures, different knowledge, things that are unknown to Jun. Because this Princess of Wands is the equivalent of the Knight of Wands, and the Knight of Wands, it represents Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius makes me think of higher perspective, what is it called? Higher knowledge. It makes me think of different cultures. It makes me think of travel. It makes me think of someone that, it is fire, so it makes me think of someone that is just taking action and doing things. This is the second fastest moving knight of all of tarot, so I do feel that there's a sense of just jumping into the action and doing that. So there's a sense of like being a bit more mature, being able to be a bit more grounded, and also unafraid. So those are the things that Jun has learned from The8. The thing that The8 has learned from Jun, funnily enough, and this one made sense a lot. Here we have the Ace of Wands. So The8 has learned how to take action. He has learned to also not be afraid, but in this sense is just kind of like to trust that everything will be okay, and to trust that the path that he's on is the right one, and whatever it is that he does, it's going to be done the right way, because that's just how it was meant to be. So there's a sense of following his own divine path and trusting in it, and just taking action. I do have to say that with this King of Pentacles is like someone that knows when to take action, but it's also a pretty slow moving energy, because it's a pentacle, and pentacles represent earth. Earth is a pretty slow moving energy. So with this Ace of Wands, it kind of feels that there's a sense of the 8 has learned how to be inspired, how to take action, has learned to also not be afraid of just taking action and just trusting on the path that he's on, but also trusting that he has the skills to walk this path, right? So I feel that the impulsive energy and tendencies that Jun has have been one of the things that has helped the 8 in also just taking action and not being afraid of it. So it seems like the 8 learned how to not be afraid of taking action, and Jun learned how to not being afraid of the unknown, if that makes sense. Now the last card is, why did Jun and the 8 meet? We have air. So there's a sense of harmony, balance, and a sense of communication. Air is the element of Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. So it definitely feels like it was just to help both of them do what they already do, which is learn how to communicate with each other properly, being able to have harmony with both of each other, being able to bring a sense of justice and a sense of self-expression. There is also a sense of going with the flow, but a bit more detached than going with the flow as that a water sign will do. So it's just kind of be like light on their own energy, so not holding on to too much baggage. Again, that harmony and balance is what allows both of them to just go on with their lives without anything weighing them down. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So it definitely feels like they met each other just to make sure that they can continue being in balance and continue to have the harmony to just it seems to me that it's for them to just take action. Of course, the connection that they both have is one filled with communication, is one filled with ideas and thoughts, and it seems like that is a place where they can both like learn from it and also help each other center themselves again in a way, shape, or form. And that is what has helped both of them to continue taking action in whatever projects or whatever paths they're meant to walk in. So yeah, I'll leave that there. I hope you guys like this reading. Thank you so much for watching. And I was pretty content with this reading. I do have to say that, funnily enough, Jun's energy was a bit hard to read, but I'm not surprised since we have the Ace of Cups and the High Priestess. So again, there's a lot of things being left unsaid, and I do feel also with those two cards that there's probably a lot of interruptions of communication, or it makes me think almost of someone that has their Mercury in the 12th house. So speech is very difficult. Words, verbalizing thoughts and ideas, just like the link is not there. So I do feel that with Jun that could be an issue, and it makes sense because the cards that represent him are pretty spiritual, so there's a lot of things that he doesn't really know that just kind of pops up, as well as he may feel things that he doesn't really know how to put into words and how to express. So I do feel that could have influenced his section of the reading. But yeah, I'll leave that there. I'll see you on the next one, whenever that is, however that is. And love and healing for my part to you. Again, thank you so much for watching, and bye.